For more than 100 years, the world has been fascinated by the movies. The movies.
This is Pulp Fantasy.
Yes. We had Amy Poehler was in one of these movies. She was in
Amy Poehler.
She played a minor role in The X.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You never know with the X. You never know who's going to pop up.
You never know with Paul Rudd. Like, you get so used to being like, oh, yes, I'll see these people. That then when a person doesn't show up, you're like, where was Bill Hader?
Right. It's true. And Bill Hader is also in one of these movies.
Exactly. I thought Bill Hader was going to be in one of these movies that he wasn't in, and then he was in a different one that I did not anticipate him being in. So it was a real little switcheroo.
Mm-hmm. If this is your first time joining us, this is a podcast where we look at the history of cinema and ask the most important question: who's winning? My name's Rochel. Rochel, if you're nasty.
And my name is Ruth. I have yet to come up with a fun quip about my name.
Great. So I think the thing with this episode, just to like launch us into it, we're talking about studio comedies this week. And that is sort of, specifically we're looking at late aughts to mid-tens studio comedies.
Yeah.
And that is the era where Paul Rudd, like, that's his bread and butter, in theory, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's something we keep coming back to, which is Paul Rudd has been at the scene of the crime of the death of so many of these genre films. Yeah. You know, the death of the rom-com, the death of the studio comedy, the death of the MCU. Uh-huh. And yet, he is always unscathed.
Yeah, he just moves on to the next one.
Yeah, because he's never the problem. Everyone like no one's ever like, oh, Paul Rudd sucked in that movie.
No. Paul Rudd's just there, and everyone's like, wow, well, Paul Rudd was in it.
Yeah, and we still like him.
Yeah.
It feels like it's hard to say what would make people go, we don't like Paul Rudd anymore. Because Anaconda, which we'll be covering on this podcast eventually, came out in December.
Yeah.
And you know there's some Jack Black fatigue in the air with the Minecraft movie and the Super Mario and, you know, all that stuff. He was
in Borderlands. We've got another Jumanji in the works.
Jumanji. He's one of the biggest movie stars of our age.
Yeah.
Certainly. And he's had this uncanny ability to be sort of kids' first movie star for the past like 3 generations of kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But Paul Rudd did not seem to make people any more or less excited for Anaconda. Paul Rudd has a movie with Nick Jonas coming out this year, from the Sing Street guy, I think.
Oh,
I'm probably way off about that. He's got a movie coming out with Nick Jonas this year, and it's fucking, what's his name, John Carney.
I'm looking it up. Power Ballad.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, and he is the Sing Street guy. Yeah.
When I think of him, I always think of Once. But so I'm like, it's the Once guy. But I do.
Sure.
Begin Again was also cute. That was a Mark Ruffalo movie.
Begin Again was nice.
Yeah. Well, this cover for Power Ballad looks amazing. I don't know if the movie's going to be any good, but
right.
This is a director I trust more.
Sure, than whoever did Anaconda.
Yeah, whoever did it. Anaconda, have you seen it yet?
I have not. I'm looking forward to watching it for the pod.
Oof. It's brutal. I saw it smack dab in between Song Sung Blue and Avatar 3. And it was a real brutal couple 90 minutes in between those two other movies.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Anaconda.
There'll be plenty of time.
We'll fight that snake when we come to it. This month, the movies we're talking about, which I'm sure you, the listener, have all watched,
definitely,
are The X, Year One, Dinner for Schmucks, and Fun Mom Dinner. 2 dinners.
There are 2 dinners.
Yes, dinner.
2 very different dinners. Both movies equally sort of not actually about a dinner.
True. Both movies in which the dinner is sort of a sequence.
Yeah.
That, is the dinner is relevant, but it's not really the point.
It's a framing device to get the characters in one room.
Exactly. So
like no dinner with Andre.
That's true. But like I said before we started, I had COVID for the last couple weeks. I had COVID while I was knocking out these movies, and I think I appreciated. There aren't any revelations in this batch of movies. Let's say
no.
There's no hidden gem in here, but this is Rudd redemption.
Yeah,
we're going to find the positive in these movies, and I will say these are 4 breezy, digestible sub 2 hour comedies.
Yeah,
that have at least a couple of laughs.
Yeah,
that were this was a good slate of movies for me to watch while I had COVID.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal watching them. I watched all 4. Like 2 in one day and then 2 in another day.
That's a little rough.
Yeah, it was. I'm really, really looking forward to watching a different movie that isn't one of these 4 movies. Like,
awesome.
Last night I did Year One and then Dinner for Schmucks, one right after the other. And I turned to my boyfriend at one point and was just like, I'm just bored. I'm just tired of this. I want it to be over.
Yeah. Speaking of watching things other than these movies,
yes,
it's been a couple months since we've checked in.
Ages.
Yeah, I've seen a couple new things that were good. I guess I went to Sundance in between now and the previous podcast
report
episode.
On that?
I could do a Sundance report if you want.
Please. I keep waiting for the blog post breaking down Sundance's most anticipated.
Sure. Well, I did do that. And I will send all my Substack, not Substack, my writing for Movie John that I did on Sundance. I will send you those links,
please.
But I saw 10 movies at Sundance. It was a weird year for Sundance. Last year in Park City, I feel like the Sundance kind of identity is a little misshapen right now, because now you've got because it was sort of the first this is the festival for the American indie marketplace, and this is for, things that don't have distributors and things that... And there became this idea of a Sundance movie that's this very sort of quirky, compassionate, comedy drama thing. And now there's South by and Tribeca, and there are all these other festivals where indie movies go that have their own kind of thing. And so a lot of the Sundance movies feel like South by or Tribeca movies. It feels like that. The Sundance movie, a recent example of a movie that feels like a Sundance movie is Eleanor the Great. And I think that movie did not go to Sundance, if I'm not mistaken. It went to Cannes.
Well,
so that's kind of, the vibe. I saw 10 movies. I liked most of them quite a bit. The first movie I saw was a documentary called On Kubjigan about the Anishinaabeg tribes in Michigan who sort of developed this coalition to reclaim their ancestors and their artifacts that are being held in museums, especially the museum at Michigan State University. and that was a really cool documentary. I saw Saccharin, which is a sort of it's like an eating disorder horror movie about it's an Australian film about this girl who starts eating ashes because they make her skinny, but they also make her see the ghost of the person the ashes belong to. It is not very good, unfortunately.
Well, you can't win them all.
You can't win them all. I think that one's going to be released in some form this summer, but I was not a big fan of it. I found it a little too on the nose, just, focusing on the wrong things, felt kind of accidentally fat phobic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Leviticus is another Australian horror movie, and one that I really liked. It's about a couple of gay boys in sort of rural industrial Australia who both belong to this kind of culty church and are put through this conversion therapy mystic ritual thing that makes them see that an angry ghost that looks like the other person. And that was a really that had a little bit of that Sundance thing. It was very tender. The relationship between the two boys is like really heartfelt and awesome, and it's about sort of them kind of figuring out how to navigate their relationship while this supernatural force is trying to pit them against each other. The Shitheads is the latest from Macon Blair. It's an awesome comedy. I talked to a couple producers and programmers who didn't like it while I was there, but I really liked it. It's got Dave Franco and O'Shea Jackson Jr. as a pair of sort of incompetent kind of slackers who end up getting this job transporting this rich kid played by Mason Thames to rehab, and the kid is just this like master manipulator guy who's like fucking with them along the trip and sneaking drugs into their food and trying to like run them off the road. And he has all these online fans. He's sort of like clavicular type, he has this whole online community around him, and he tells his fans that he's been kidnapped, all these things. Really fun, crazy comedy that if you are a Macon Blair fan, you'll really dig.
Yeah.
History of Concrete from John Wilson. That was a great little documentary. Yeah. Very much How To with John Wilson vibes. But I also learned a lot about concrete.
Yeah.
It's, it has this very free-flowing kind of thing, and it goes in so many crazy different directions. There's an element of, like, the producers telling him that he needs to have a famous musician in the movie to get it made, basically. And so he starts following this local dive bar cover band guy around, and that becomes a whole subplot. It comes together in a really beautiful way, and it's just very, very funny. I Want Your Sex, the new Gregoraki.
Yes.
Probably my favorite from the fest.
Of course.
It's really funny and really horny, and I think I was worried from some of the early reviews that it would be like a sort of like anti-Gen Z like Screed.
Yeah.
But it's very nuanced and really kind of compassionate about like young people and sort of like why attitudes around sex are kind of reasonably weird with young people right now. And it feels it's the perspective of someone who like spends time with young people, remembers being young himself. And yet it also, I think, really like gets down to the heart of like the sort of celibate pervert like archetype that like it's a really, really great movie that I'm looking forward to everyone seeing.
It's one of those where it's like I'm so interested to see what someone who I guess we could call an elder would like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see his take on contemporary culture, because like he's so dialed in and is so like the one we turn to for like, oh, this is what contemporary culture used to be like in this era, that it's like, what's he up to now? What's he thinking about us? I gotta see.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a great movie. I saw Tell Me Everything, which was an Israeli film that I did not care for. It's about a kid who finds out his dad is gay, and it's like during the like AIDS crisis, and he's kind of like, you know, basically he outs the dad to the rest of the family, and there's a whole messy like divorce, and the dad becomes kind of separated from the rest of the family. And then in the back half of the movie, the kid's like a little older and like finds his dad in like the classified ads in the paper and kind of ends up reconnecting with him that way. It's not a terrible premise. I found it pretty tone deaf in a lot of ways. It just has this like smeary kind of like, I don't know, it's very kind of the tone of the movie and the tone of the subject matter don't really jive for me. I saw Once Upon a Time in Harlem, the very excellent documentary from Bill Greaves and his son Dave Greaves. It was shot in the early 70s. It's a meeting of the living luminaries of the Harlem Renaissance. So it's people in the 70s getting together to talk about the 20s, and we're seeing it in the 2020s. And it's really spectacular, and it's really awesome to just see like to just see these kind of historical thinkers and luminaries like talk to each other and hash things out. It's a very, very rare perspective, and it's a really awesome documentary. The last two I saw Big Girls Don't Cry, a really great coming-of-age movie from Paloma Schneiderman, who was in Jane Campion's directing school. It's also it's a Kiwi movie, and it's very just very tender and raw and lived in, and it's about, you know, being like a queer teen girl and kind of like envying the popular girls, but the popular girls are envying the more popular girls, and there's this, you know, everyone's got all these complexes and things, and it's just like a very real and accurate, but also very specific, because it's like it's in New Zealand and it's during summer/Christmas break, and, and it's like there are things about it that are very specific to that era and that place. But there's also something super universal about like what it's like to be a teenager and try to like talk to people. And finally, the new film from David Wayne, another filmmaker I tried to get on the podcast, Gil Daughtry and the Celebrity. Someday we'll get David Wayne on here. Gil Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass. A really awesome movie. I'm thinking about how much I want to say about it. It's very funny. It's got a lot of fun cameos and a really great ensemble. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Paul Rudd is involved with it.
I was gonna say, like, is this one we'll have to cover someday?
I mean, is there a world where it's a hit? I guess is the question.
That's true.
And I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird little movie. And I feel like it's made for its scale. I hope that it gets more of an actual release than They Came Together did. It might just be that kind of thing where, like They Came Together or like Wet Hot, it has a very limited release and kind of disappears. And then over the years, people start to be like, this is awesome. I don't know if this is known about the movie, so I'm not going to be specific, but it is reflecting the story of a certain classic movie in a way that I didn't realize until pretty late in the movie. And once I did, I was like, oh, this is fun.
Interesting. That's a good like hook for advertising this movie
Yeah.
because it's already like, well, I gotta see it, but ooh, now I have to go in and see if I can figure out which movie it's reflecting back at me.
Yeah, there are I think as the movie goes on, it gets more and more blatant about it.
Yeah.
But it's possible to figure it out, even if they haven't like come out and said it. I think it would be possible to figure it out even without seeing the movie. So those were the 10 films I saw at Sundance, and most of them were very good.
That's great. That's exciting. I definitely added the History of Concrete to my watch list as soon as I saw your review of it and like looked at it because I was like, what is this movie?
Yeah,
I'm excited to see a bunch of these.
Yeah, it was exciting to go to Sundance. It was a great experience.
Yeah,
and perhaps I'll be back in the future. Who knows? The other night I saw Mike and Nick and Alice, the new action comedy with James Marsden, Vince Vaughn, Asa Gonzalez. It's really, really fun. I don't feel like I've really enjoyed a new action comedy in a long while. This one is really good.
Noted. I saw that it was playing at my local theater, and I was like, what is that? I do find Vince Vaughn very fun, and I do really
he plays
like
two
James
characters.
Marsden. You can never go wrong with that. You can never go wrong with two Vince Vaughns. No.
Sort of squawking at each other.
No.
That movie has some of the craziest needle drops I've ever seen. Just some of the most like, what?
I love that. Okay. That's moved up on my watch list. Yeah, I haven't made it to the movies in quite a while. I think the last thing I saw in theaters was Pillion, which is really good.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that it was sort of marketed in American audiences, at least, it was sort of marketed as a rom-com, and it's really not. It's
sadder than the marketing would lead you to believe.
It's a pretty like tragic tearjerker, like coming of age sort of a movie that is like about a really shitty relationship, and the trailers would have you think that that's not what it's about, but that's what it's about. Once you know what it's about, it's a really, really well-made movie. But it was definitely a shock to me and the person I went with and several other groups in the theater who really lingered after the credits to sort of process what they had just seen.
Yeah, it is romantic and it is funny.
Yes,
but it ends on a hopeful note.
Yes,
but there's some tough stuff in there also.
Yeah, it's very, very British in the way that it's sort of a very it treats its dark subject matter in a very comedic way without it ever being treated lightly, which is this like very specifically like British humor thing, I feel like. Yeah.
I like that both of the main characters. First of all, I think Harry Melling is so well cast in that because he's such a doofus.
Yeah.
You just there are so many times in the first half hour or so of that movie where I'm just like, I just see his face and I start laughing.
Yeah.
And then, he gets the buzz cut and he gets the lock and the leather, thing going. And it's like, okay, he's kind of pulling this off.
Yeah. And Skarsgård is doing so much in this movie. Skarsgård's really flexing on how much he can put into like an eyebrow twitch in a way that's delicious in all of its like sort of it's delicious right up even to where you're like you don't like him anymore, but you're still like, damn, Skarsgård's acting.
I think it's funny that Skarsgård played a pup in Infinity Pool and plays a handler in Pillion.
He's got the range.
Many don't.
He's got the range. Oh, have we talked about Iron Lung yet? I saw Iron Lung.
We have not. Iron Lung kind of rules.
Iron Lung?
Yeah.
Iron Lung is like one of my favorite directorial debuts in a while. It's crazy that he hasn't made a movie besides this. This is his first movie.
It's really awesome. I'm looking forward to more movies from Dear Markiplier, another future guest on this podcast.
Yes. Yeah,
we're just putting it out there. Yeah. Markiplier's going to come on for
we'll
sure.
Get Markiplier on, and I'll be like, damn, this reminded me of Evil Dead. And that's like probably the highest praise I could give a debut horror filmmaker. In the way that it was just, it was scrappy, it was weird, it was small.
It was scrappy, it
had
was
a lot of blood.
Weird. A lot of blood. Some of the most blood we've ever seen.
So good. It's the right viscous type of blood too. Because sometimes, like I watched a bunch of movies for a local film fest that I'm on one of the many judges for. And there's this one that was like, okay. But my biggest complaint was that the blood was too clear. It was too clearly like, there's too much corn syrup in the mix and not enough like viscera.
Yeah.
Iron Lung understands the consistency. You got to make the blood so that when the dude is dunked in it, you're like, what?
That's a first movie problem sometimes. Sometimes you're making your first thing and you just got to get the blood from Spirit Halloween or something, and it's like it's not chunky enough.
Yeah.
But Markiplier really knocked it out of the park. It is too long. It should be shorter.
Yeah.
It's the kind of movie that would really sing at like 80 minutes.
Yes.
But
yes.
At 2 hours 10, it's still really cool.
Yeah.
And what I really like about it is that it's Lovecraftian, and I think there aren't a lot of Lovecraftian horror movies these days.
Yeah. They kind of like imply it, but then they always end up falling back on some kind of very grounded something. Like I feel like Barbarian was like trying to be very like ooh, but it's like no, it's just it's a scary lady in the basement, you know.
Yeah, this is a movie about a sort of unknowable evil in the blood ocean. And that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's just so smart of a way to like scale a first movie. And like Markiplier is acting his little heart out. And there are a couple moments where I'm like, this is his first film, but he puts so much energy and effort into it that it's like much like the first Evil Dead or like the first Saw movie, where I'll forgive it any of that for the gumption to just do what it did.
And he uses himself really well.
Oh yeah.
Like for you would kind of expect it's a YouTuber, it's his first movie, he's the star and is the only person on screen for most of it.
Yeah.
But he handles it really well by like almost hiding his face for a lot of the movie, like choosing these really like these really tactile kind of angles and things, and like fixating on like his hand or his shoulder, like or just like the room around him. Like he knows his own limits as an actor and knows how to tap into those perfectly as a director, which is really impressive.
It kind of blew me away. I knew very, very little about it. And actually what happened was me and my boyfriend went to see Angel's Egg, which just got a new 4K re-release in theaters. And we get there and we realize it's sold out. And it's us and a whole train of other sad trans people leaving this theater learning that Angel's Egg was sold out. And we looked at the screenings and we said, well, there's like a 10:15 Iron Lung. So we went and saw Iron Lung at like the middle of the night. And it was the best way to watch that movie because I went in knowing nothing and I left at like 1 a.m. being like, my God, when's his next feature dropping?
Yeah, I hope we get another film from Mark. And that movie did very well, so I'm sure we will get another film from Markiplier if he wants to.
Yeah.
But he's a great director and he should. I really loved The Bride. The Bride
I still need to see it.
Is one of my favorites this year. A very, very Wachowski and very like spiritual and sentimental and weird, and like it's a movie that loves films. It's a movie that is about sort of discovery and womanhood in a way that I really vibed with. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the kind of movie that I would give to Maggie Gyllenhaal if she wasn't already making it, you know? Like, if I saw the movie and if I saw the script, she's the person I would hand it to, you know, to take on that.
Yeah,
sort of
she might be someone, and we could talk about this off mic, but she might be someone to throw in the mix for next season.
Yes. Okay, that's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. But we've been talking for half an hour, and we need to talk about these movies.
I know. I had a moment there right before I brought up Iron Lung where I was like, we've been talking for a while. I don't want to talk about these other movies. I want to talk about Iron Lung, actually.
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
We got to start.
The first movie we're talking about is called The X.
Yes.
And maybe, I guess Fun Mom Dinner is probably the most obscure of these, but The X is a pretty obscure movie.
Yeah.
I'll tell the story of how this movie got made.
Please.
It started as a spec script called Fast Track from two young hotshot screenwriters named David Guion and Michael Handelman. It got picked up by Miramax alongside an indie studio called Good Machine, who did like Wedding Banquet, Happiness in the Bedroom, you know, real indie movies.
Yeah.
In 2001. They went under in 2003.
Yep.
So the project kind of lingered for a while. The first announcement in Variety that I could find said the project is about a 30-year-old underachiever who takes a job he doesn't want when his pregnant wife quits her high-pressured big salary gig. I assume the sort of main thrust in the movie was obscured. In that early release, they were like, and there's a little something extra, you know, something to keep him waiting.
Yeah.
In June 2003, it's reported that Jimmy Fallon is attached to the project.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
Yeah.
it feels like
really
it feels
tracks.
like Jimmy. It feels like Jimmy Fallon, like in that early 2000s era, was being set up to be like the kind of Gen X schlub, like lovable loser kind of guy. And then Zach Braff showed up, and everyone was like, "Oh well, who needs Jimmy Fallon?"
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon did Fever Pitch, and people said, "Okay, that's all we need from you. You were perfect in this one movie. You can't keep a straight face on screen, so we're gonna go with this other guy."
Yeah, we have Zach Braff now.
Yeah, we have Zach Braff. He fits the bill more than you. Go away.
Yes. Speaking of which, in 2005, Hollywood Reporter breaks the news: the movie's back on. Amanda Peet and Zach Braff, and new director Jesse Peretz, who was best known at the time for the Paul Rudd vehicle The Chateau, which is a movie that we almost covered in this season. It just kind of didn't make the roster. I think it's like hard to find or something.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking on the director's page, and he's one of the founding members of the Lemonheads.
Oh,
Which is crazy.
okay.
Oh yeah, and then he did Juliet Naked, which is a movie I do really like. I recommended it to someone recently, and they watched it, and they were like, it was fine. And I was like, yeah, Ethan Hawke is delightful in it, but
Totally. Yeah, I didn't see Juliet Naked, but I remember hearing it was like fine.
it's cute. It's cute and fun.
Yeah.
It's a great watch with your mom movie.
Yes. So Mark Cuban boards the project as a producer. Jason Bateman joins the cast. The movie had its LA premiere in December 2006, and it was still called Fast Track.
Oh.
There are like this is the thing. There are like trailers out and posters with the title Fast Track. You can find the trailer on YouTube that says Fast Track. It seems like they premiered it in December, going to release it in January, and the executives were not satisfied with it and pushed it to March and then to May. Both of the writers and the director kind of disowned the final version of the film. David Guion said, "That movie was a bit of a cautionary story for screenwriters in terms of that it was a movie that struggled a little bit and didn't test well initially, and the financiers panicked and said we'd better show a lot of people getting hit in the balls." It was unfortunate It was unfortunate because the director, Jesse Peretz, is great and very talented, but the movie was ultimately taken out of his hands.
Yeah. This is all tracking with the experience that I had watching the film.
It's fast tracking.
Oh, that's true. Yes, of course. It's fast tracking to being about something that the movie doesn't seem like it's about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is weird. It feels like again, we had that initial description. The movie's about this underachiever who gets a job with her girlfriend's dad's company, and that's kind of what the movie's about. But that becomes like the backdrop for this very thin sitcom premise that we'll get into it in a bit. But it's very strange.
But then there are chunks of the movie where the X premise, like that whole plot line, seems to just like they forget about it. There are large chunks of the movie that Jason Bateman is just not in. Yeah, it's like I thought, okay, like it's clearly a script that went through all the things that you were describing.
You can actually track this on like Internet Archive. It was fasttrackthemovie.com, and then in February they changed it to thexmovie.com.
That's crazy. That's what's the Tom Cruise one that they renamed while it was in theaters? Live Die Repeat. Oh,
yeah, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I always think about that. That's crazy. I've never seen something do that.
Here's the thing, okay. Like, what does fast track mean?
Yeah, the movie's not really about that either.
Who's on what fast track? I don't know if there's like a line or something that got left out, but I don't see. I guess he's on the fast track at work because he's like the son-in-law of the boss, but. Again, that plot line is so barely there in the movie.
Yeah.
This is what Paul Rudd had to say.
Oh, good. Okay.
About his role in the movie. Oh, right. my friend Jesse directed that movie. We had done a movie called The Chateau, and he was directing that movie. So that's how that happened.
Tracks. Yeah. This was a slate of movies that. Until I watched Dinner for Schmucks, which I watched last, it was really not a Paul Rudd slate at all.
Yeah, we're these are all Rudd cameos mostly, other than Dinner for Schmucks.
Yeah,
and the Rudd cameo is an important part of his career.
Yeah,
but it's an interesting thing. It's sort of like because none of these movies advertise themselves as Paul Rudd movies.
No, he's not even credited in some of them.
But it's just like Paul Rudd shows up and does a scene, and it's like, does it elevate it? Does it give it a little extra zhuzh? I don't know.
It really solidifies for me the people behind the screen. I think when Paul Rudd shows up as a cameo, I'm like, oh, I know who was connected to this. Was connected to so and so. I understand. It really feels like they were like, hey, I'm friends with Paul Rudd. We can get him to be in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's often the case, like how his friend Jesse, who did The Chateau, directed this one.
Yeah.
So what's the plot of this movie?
Well, okay, so the plot of this movie, the original Variety description is sort of accurate, where it's about Zach Braff plays this sort of, loser who hasn't been able to keep a job. His most recent job is as a line cook chef at some fancy restaurant, which is run and owned by Paul Rudd, and that's where we get our Paul Rudd cameo. He's like the asshole owner that Zach Braff freaks out at and then gets fired, and so he and his wife, played by Amanda Peet, end up moving back to her hometown in Ohio, I think. Cleveland. I feel like we were in Ohio again.
It gives Ohio for sure.
It's somewhere in the Midwest. And Zach Braff is now working for his father-in-law, who works at this really strange advertising company that is clearly trying to do early to mid 2000s hip workplace, but it's very strange because the father-in-law is Charles Grodin. Is it Grodin or Charles Grodin? So there's like this old man, this old respected man, who's sort of in the center of this like new agey, tons of young people workplace that's run by Donald Logue. Again, another friend of the pod. We'll get him on Sunday.
Logue.
Love him.
I'd love to have Donald Logue on. Fuck.
That would be so good. Oh my god, we could talk to him about the size of watermelon. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, he's so good.
That'd be great. Yeah, he's okay in this. He's like a new agey boss. You know, this movie also has Mia Farrow in it as like the mother-in-law.
It also has Mia Farrow. It also has Amy Adams.
Yeah, Amy Adams is in this movie. Fred Armisen is in this movie.
Yeah.
Fred Armisen surprised me. I was not anticipating him, but then Amy Adams showed up and I literally like shouted.
Yeah. I have the people who I just wrote their names as a note. First, Amanda Peet with a heart.
Yes, yeah. I've got Amanda Peet is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Amy Poehler,
Charles Grodin,
Donald
and
Logue.
Mia Farrow. Armisen and Stevenson. Logue. Amy Adams.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Armisen to say bisexual Fred Armisen, the perverted couples therapist.
Yes. Fred Armisen with an incredible clip-in, like, ponytail mullet weave thing. That's amazing. It's like the only thing I wrote down as a possible draft for this movie was best hair, because I was just I loved it. And like, so it's the middle of the movie is about sort of all of these random people in this hometown. Amanda Peet is like kind of trying to be a stay-at-home mom and like not really loving it. Meanwhile, Zach Braff is working at this company and kind of stumbling his way through it. And the person he is assigned to work with is one of Amanda Peet's exes, played by Jason Bateman. And this guy is a total asshole and is it's weird the way that they kind of like, I don't know, he's sort of supposed to be the like skeevy ex-boyfriend that you get in often rom-coms, but they like make him cartoonishly evil, and then they also make him a paraplegic. And also there's like a weird queer coding to the way they dress him and like the way he used to be a cheerleader and stuff, and I'm like, are you just putting all of the stereotypes onto your villain? I don't know how to feel about that. And so the movie's about like Zach Braff trying to like keep his wife from evil Jason Bateman, who's like, but Zach Braff keeps like he burns down the office and like all this other crazy stuff happens, and it ends with him being a stay-at-home dad so Amanda Peet can go back to being a cool lawyer, and it's all that's the plot of the movie. It's
all water under the bridge.
Yeah.
So like I was saying before, this is a premise that makes sense for an episode of a sitcom. There's an old ex-boyfriend comes to town, and he's a real jerk, and he's in a wheelchair, and the main character, you know, is awkward and gets on his gets on his bad side, and then it turns out that he's like faking being disabled. And, you know, when you stretch it out to a movie, there's just so many questions.
There's a kid.
Like,
no, you finish your thought.
No, there's never the conversation of why Zach Braff doesn't tell anyone what Jason Bateman is doing to him. Like this guy's like sexually harassing him. And there's just this unspoken thing that might make sense in an episode of a sitcom that's like, maybe no one's gonna believe me because he's disabled.
There were so many elements in this movie, and it would be like a big chunk of the movie would be like, okay, now we're gonna worry about the ad exec, like part of him having this new job. Like there's the whole thing with the kid who's a neighbor, and this kid rocks. He's the real star of the movie.
The kid rolls.
The
kid's funny.
This kid who can eat a hamburger whole, and every time they show it, I'm always like, damn.
It is cool.
It's really fun. I'm pretty sure they affect it. Like, there's something about it that looks a little uncanny enough that I think they did it in post. But it's, like, really cool and fun. And I'm, like, more interested in him. And then there's large chunks of the movie that's just, like, Zach Braff chasing this child to get him to record eating a hamburger again.
Right, because he accidentally... Or Jason Bateman tampers with it, actually. But he records over the footage that he was going to use for the commercial. This company's an ad agency. They mostly do food mascots, it seems like. And so he was going to do this commercial, and now he needs to re-record the video.
Yeah. And, like, in trying to find it, he burns down the office, which gets the father-in-law fired. So now the father-in-law is, like, day drinking. It's like kooky thing after kooky thing, but it's all undermined by the fact that I don't care about Zach Braff's character at all, and everything they're doing with Jason Bateman's character is like just it doesn't work on this scale, and it goes too far to the point where it's like I'm not having a good time. I'm just like, why do I have to watch this man get tortured? I don't care about either of them. And it's 2006, so the movie's doing it in a way that feels really weird and uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah. I think I liked this movie a little more than you did. And I think a lot of that is just that I was mildly... I find the Zach Braff character really, like, if it was someone I knew, I would hate him. Yeah. But... I found him a little bit charming. Yeah. I was able to ride with Zach Braff a little bit.
Yeah. I was along the ride for Amanda Peet the whole time. It was literally like anytime she was on screen, I was like, this movie is worth it. She's so gorgeous in this movie.
Here's the interesting thing they do. They make it clear in these little minute scenes of Amanda Peet that she doesn't like the Jason Bateman character. Yeah. Like... And I think it's kind of interesting the way, like, it's clear to us, the audience, and you can also tell why it's not really clear to Zach Braff that she does not fuck with this guy at all. Yeah. And it culminates in kind of like her flat out rejecting him in a way that, like, makes sense because he sucks.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like it's called The X, but the way that she talks about him is like, yeah, we actually hooked up once. It was weird.
Yeah. If it had rolled more into like rom-com territory and played into the sort of classic, like, oh, he's jealous, but like they're in love. I don't know. Like, I almost feel like that's what I was missing from the movie because the comedy just didn't hit enough. There were a couple bits that were funny, but it didn't. Yeah, like the comedy wasn't good enough to carry the movie for me.
Yeah, here are a few things I thought were funny.
Please.
So there's a bit at the beginning when they're in the hospital, and they're not going to do the epidural, and then Amanda Peet changes her mind. Braff runs out and goes to the anesthesiologist, who is the fact that he's a bald black guy, and that's how Zach Braff describes him. Is that a Scrubs reference?
I don't know, but that was the moment where I was like, whoa, I forgot about Scrubs.
Scrubs!
Yeah.
It's back.
It is back.
I liked the moment at the end of that scene where Braff is like, we're going to name our kid after you, because he like comes in and gives her the epidural and saves the day, and he's like, what's your name? And he says Hakeem, and he looks like really excited, yeah. and then Braff's like, your last name? And he's like, Oliver.
Yeah,
I just love the way that he plays that, like the real excitement and disappointment.
Yeah. I have a line written down here. And this was from the Fred Armisen character, who goes, I like having sex with women, but men are better cuddlers. It's a great delivery of a line that you're not anticipating, and you're just like, it's a fun. I appreciate it enough that I wrote it down.
Yeah. I like the bit at the office where Grodin's like, we don't apologize here. The Japanese have a term, and that's just the Japanese word for apology. And they literally just write apologies, but they just don't call them apologies.
Yeah, they just do it on a sticky note.
Yeah. Other things I liked. I did think Charles Grodin was very good in this.
Yeah, he's great.
I think he lends a lot to the movie.
Yeah.
I thought Amy Adams was also really good. The whole thing with the Amy Adams character is that she is doing what Bateman is doing to Braff to Amanda Peet. Yeah. Like, Amanda Peet is going through her own mini version of the story, like while Zach Braff is, and there's just and like they just don't know.
Yeah. And some of that stuff was really funny with the like it's a good skew of the like new age mom to be like, well, let me ask my child first before I hug them, and the child's like 6 months old.
And also, I mean, that it reminded me of Night Bitch a little bit. It made me go, this is kind of predicting Amy Adams doing Night Bitch. It's funny that she plays like a first time mom in this movie in 2006, and then also in a movie in like 2024.
She has
like,
the range.
That's awesome. Oh, the kid has a goth girlfriend at the end.
Love
That's
it.
good.
The kid having a goth girlfriend was great. The kid was just a great part of the movie.
Yeah. There's the line about like one of the mascots who's like, I'm really proud of him. There's not a lot of Latino characters in advertising. And it's like a hot sauce with a mustache or something. Like, it's so super tropey like character.
Yes. A bit that I really liked was when Zach Braff is going through Jason Bateman's stuff and finds a photo of him playing tennis, and he's like, oh my god, this is the proof I need. He can walk. He's been faking this whole time. Here's a photo of him playing tennis. And then everyone is like, and so then he goes and he picks Jason Bateman up and throws him down the stairs, and the family's like, oh my god, you could kill him. And he's like, look at this photo, and they're like, that's his twin brother who died. And I thought that was really good. That was a gag that got me really hard.
But here's the thing. First of all, he is fake.
Yeah. It's very like,
which I think is so unnecessary, but like
especially because then that his comeuppance at the end is that he falls and breaks both his legs and needs to be in a wheelchair anyway. Like they do it too many times where it's like, no, just stop at the, I have a brother who died who was a twin.
Yeah. But then also, again, to come back to the sort of like unspoken like stigma behind the story a little bit, it's like in that same scene he gets evidence that Jason Bateman is fucking with him. He gets like video proof, and he's like, no, I need to show them the photo and I need to throw him down the stairs because the only way they'll believe me is if he's not actually disabled.
Yes. I couldn't, throughout the movie I was trying to figure out, I could never like make up my mind about whether I thought the twist was gonna be that he was faking or not, because movies of this era I feel like love to do that. Sitcoms love to do that, and as a sitcom episode turned into a movie, I was sort of waiting for that to be the twist. But it was just weird. I found the pacing of this movie weird, where it just sort of
it feels like
couldn't decide what it wanted to be the main arc, or the A and B plot are just sort of mixed up into one C plot.
Yeah, the whole disabled character who's like a huge jackass is kind of a trope of sitcoms of this era, I feel like.
Definitely. Because there would be the like, I'm trying to think of there's got to be a 30 Rock episode where they do this.
Yeah, there's the 30 Rock episode where she goes on a date with the disabled guy who I think is also black and doesn't like him as a person. And it becomes this whole thing. That was season 1, I think. Yeah. So right around the time of this movie.
Yeah.
A little Easter egg.
Please.
There's a scene where Amanda Peet is reading Harold and the Purple Crayon to the baby, and that is a reference to the Yale improv group where the writers met, which was called the Purple Crayon. And then those writers went on to write Harold and the Purple Crayon. It's because I read with Zachary Levi, but I'll tell you why I keep saying Crown. It's because I had that book as a kid, and as a kid I would say Crown. So when I say Harold and the Purple, it just leads into Crown, not Crayon.
It's like how I still say Socrates often.
Great. This movie's not very good.
No.
I think, to touch on the Paul Rudd bit a little bit, there's something about like the essence of Rudd that I think we get in this run of movies, which is he's like the ultimate yuppie.
Yeah.
He becomes like the guy who you put in a suit and you know, goes to work in an office with a cubicle and like, you know, like he is the corporate guy.
Yeah.
Of this era of comedies.
For sure. It's like the pre Ant-Man. I feel like Ant-Man did a lot to bring Paul Rudd back around to this like sort of rapscallion.
Shaggy dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the middle there, it was just like, yeah, you put Paul Rudd in a suit and he's Jeff from The Office.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. He doesn't really do the business thing anymore.
He went through that phase.
Yeah, he's over it.
Well, I feel like yuppie comedies of that type aren't super thing anymore.
It's true. It felt late even then.
Yeah.
To be like, you know, doing like Dinner for Schmucks is in like 2010, and it's like this cubicle shit just isn't really like this isn't super how it works anymore.
I wonder if we'll see a reprise now that The Office has become like really, really big again. Like The Office is kind of having its like syndicated heyday, its renaissance on streaming. I would not be surprised if we get some weird new wave of like similar cubicle stories, but it's like, oh, they're all Gen Z now, and like there's the intern that's on TikTok.
Yeah, they'd have to make more than 2 comedies a year to do that.
True. That's the thing that really died was comedy.
Yeah. The laughter. So I think that's it for the X. I think we could move on to
fine.
year one.
Year one was a slog. There are chunks of this movie that I enjoyed, and I thought the first 45-50 minutes moved at a clip that was really like it worked well, and I was able to, even if I like didn't care for like what they were currently doing, I knew that in like 15 minutes they'd be in a new place doing new things. The last 50 minutes of this movie drag.
Where they're just in Sodom the whole time. It's like it loses all the momentum.
Yeah, it drags. It becomes too much about stuff that like I don't care about, and there's nothing else for me to like cover up the stuff, the like character dynamics that I don't really care about.
Because like up to that point, it's got that history of the world kind of sketch vibe where it's like all these different eras of like the Bible and actual history like kind of hodgepodge together, and they're having these random encounters as they're on their journey, and then it's just like we're in Sodom and we're staying there and we have a story.
Yeah, I would have preferred if the movie just like kept going. Like I would have loved for them to end up like in a cubicle office and like have gone through all of history. That would be so much more like fun, and it would have kept things changing enough that I think it would have meant that it could hold up this runtime.
Yeah. I saw year one in theaters with my mom.
I remember when this came out. I certainly did not see it. What was that like? What was your response as a child?
As a child, I was like, eh. I remember me and my mom coming out and being like, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
I think there were things I liked about it as a kid for sure, but it just, I think I probably had the same problem I do now, which is it slows to a crawl and just kind of stays there for the last half.
Yeah. I need to know about the production of this movie because I remembered when it came out, and I remembered I sort of knew what the premise was from when it came out and seeing trailers and stuff. But then the first thing I have written down in my notes is Harold Ramis with a big question mark. And I would love to know when and how and where and why this movie came to be.
So this was the final film directed by Harold Ramis.
R.I.P. legend.
R.I.P. legend. It was originally conceived by Harold Ramis in 2004.
Uh-huh.
It's announced that he's working on a historical comedy, and he's writing and producing it with Owen Wilson.
Okay. Our old friends.
So you put yourself in the era. This is Owen Wilson comes up with Wes Anderson. He's a big new comedy star, and he also wrote those early Wes Anderson movies. He's a writer, and he's doing movies with Vince Vaughn and getting into the mainstream comedy bag. And him and Ramis are getting together, and they're like, we're going to do like a history of the world type thing. 2005. Harold Ramis does this interview where he says, we're working with two young writers who work on the show The Office. Those writers are Gene Stupnitsky and Lee Eisenberg, who go on to create the show Jury Duty. Yep. Talented guys. He says, I've had this idea for a long time, and we're doing it for Columbia Pictures for Owen. Epic comedy. That's the idea. A sort of... you can imagine like a biblical epic, like Ben-Hur, 10 Commandments, but it's a comedy.
Yeah, I was definitely. It was a movie that I feel like I kept thinking about other. Well, this is just how I live my life. It's like everything reminds me of other movies, but it's sort of like I'll just rewatch Life of Brian instead of watching this again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely has big Life of Brian vibes. But American and stupid.
Yeah.
For the record, Gene Stupnitsky and Lee Eisenberg met in college while they were interns for Harold Ramis.
That's really funny.
So it seems like Ramis had this idea for a long time, and him and Owen Wilson were kind of working on it. And he was like, I have these interns who are working at The Office now. They should do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened.
Yep. Not long after that, Judd Apatow comes on board. Yep. Now, this is like post 40-Year-Old Virgin, pre Knocked Up and Superbad, like Apatow's on the rise. Yeah. As late as February 2007, it's still Owen Wilson attached to star, and then by June, there are new stars announced: Jack Black and Michael Cera.
Where is this in relation to Arrested Development?
That's a good question. I believe Arrested Development is off the air in 2007. I believe Arrested Development starts in 04-ish and ends in 07, I think, in the original run.
It was 03 to 06.
So 03 to 06. So 07 is Michael Cera is done with Arrested Development, has Superbad coming out that summer. And is about to blow up. Yeah.
This is pre Scott Pilgrim, post Juno. Like, it's a very specific time in his career.
It's the year of Juno. Yeah. That he gets attached.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah.
So it's Jack Black and Michael Cera now. Owen Wilson stays on as a producer, although he is. His name is not on the finished film. Soon after, the movie gets a title, The Year One. I love when I'm looking at the history of a movie, and it just had a "the" at the beginning. So, as we were kind of saying, this movie becomes increasingly hot ticket. It's been in production for like 3-4 years, and suddenly Michael Cera is huge and Judd Apatow is huge. And and this is the time of the writer's strike, so Columbia is really invested in making this and having it do well. So it has a budget of $60 million.
Yeah, it does.
and it's money on the screen, I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah.
They spared no expense. Stanley Tucci was attached to play Noah, and then they cut Noah out of the movie. They cut Noah out of the movie completely because Evan Almighty flopped.
Oh my God, this is throwing me back. Evan Almighty.
Yeah.
Damn, I watched that movie like multiple times as a child. I would get the DVD out and
Totally.
watch it. And I never even really liked it. I just watched it.
We would watch anything Steve Carell
Yeah.
because The Office was big in my house.
Yes.
Which
we will be getting into in a minute.
Yes, and Evan Almighty exactly belongs to this crop of movies we're talking about, except that Paul Rudd isn't in it. But yeah, Tucci was going to play Noah. I would love to have a touch of the Tooch in this movie. I think that would have done a lot. Really elevated it.
Yeah.
If we had 10 minutes of Tucci and 10 less minutes of Sodom, it might go up a star.
If it had just kept introducing people and kept being like, let's get Tucci as Noah. Let's get, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another good. Let's get Job in here. Let's get some other random person to play Job. Just keep doing other books in the Bible.
Because it's like breezing through, like it's Adam and Eve, and now it's Abraham, and it's like, and then they just stop.
Yeah, where's Jesus?
And it's like,
this is a movie that desperately needs a Jesus.
Give us Egypt at least.
Let's part the Red Sea in this movie, and like see how this movie does a really dumb version of that.
Totally. The release date for year one was going to be. The release date for year one was June 19th, 2009. But that was originally going to be the release date for Prince of Persia, which Disney had a lot riding on because it was going to be like their next Pirates of the Caribbean.
I do. And
really then
like
Prince of Persia. Movie. I have not seen it.
I really like it.
I've not seen it.
But I
love me some Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal's really fun in it. I remember it being... It really worked for me as a kid as another Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I was a big, John Carpenter of Mars kid. Like, I liked those sorts of post-Pirates, people trying to figure out what the next, Bruckheimer series is going to be. And Prince of Persia is a really fun one. If I rewatched it now, I'd probably have a more nuanced opinion on it. But when I do think about it, it's very fondly.
Yes. And I do have to say that you just said John Carpenter of Mars, and that's pretty funny.
Well, John
Carpenter, Ghost of Mars.
Starring Statham, I think?
Maybe. I think Ice Cube's in that.
Yeah. It all loops back.
It all comes back around. So... Prince of Persia got delayed a whole year. Yeah. So everyone was like, let's swoop in. And we ended up with 3 comedies set for that date. Year one, The Proposal, and The Tooth Fairy.
Damn. And 2 of those kind of continued to have a life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, The Proposal was such a hit.
The Proposal's so
and I haven't seen it.
It's so fun. It's very, very of this era. Betty White in that movie, that's the peak old Betty White. She's awesome. Everywhere. It's her hosting SNL, that era Betty White. It's Ryan Reynolds before any of the superhero stuff. It's still what I think about when I think about Sandra Bullock half the time. It's really fun in a very late 2000s way.
Yeah, The Proposal made $500 million, and Tooth Fairy did okay enough.
Yeah.
And year one was a total bomb. Around this time, Stupnitsky and Eisenberg also start working on Ghostbusters 3 with Harold Ramis.
Right.
They were gonna, come back together for that. And then I think they ended up working on the video game that came out.
Right, yeah.
Also around this time, the recession.
Yep.
Probably a factor.
Yep.
A relevant thing of the time.
Yep.
$60 million comedy. That, probably had a lot riding on it. the trailers for year one played before I Love You Man and Paul Blart Mall Cop, among other things. Those were just two of the early ones. Trailer played during the Super Bowl. And the movie also sponsored an episode of Fred titled Fred Goes to Bible School.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
I watched this video. It's very fun. It's Fred talking about this is like peak Fred. This isn't late Fred.
Yeah.
This is like grainy camera like episode 60 of Fred or something. Like Fred's still a thing. And he's just, it doesn't announce itself as a sponsored video. But he's talking about how he went to Bible school and everyone was making year one jokes. Okay. And that's sort of the premise of the video.
Okay. Interesting.
So, clever bit of marketing from Columbia Pictures there. They sort of had their finger on the pulse. Yeah.
Now the YouTubers are making the movies.
That's right, and they're pretty good sometimes. Year one debuted at number 4. It had poor reviews. It did not make a profit. Proposal was number 1 that weekend. Tooth Fairy got pushed. It was, however, nominated for Choice Summer Comedy at the 2019 Choice Awards. It was up against The Hangover, Bruno, Funny People, and the winner, Up. Here's the thing. This has been... Up's legacy has become so different, but at the time, people were saying this at the time, like, Up is funny as hell. It is kind of the funniest Pixar movie.
It is. This is an interesting... I'm having so much... there's so much nostalgia in just the titles whizzing by my head right now. Just for, what would air commercials during Nickelodeon would be, for all of these things.
I distinctly remember a list that some major publication I read put out in 2010 that was the top 30 best comedies of the 2000s, and Up was on that list.
Yeah. It is funny.
It's a really funny movie.
I was hiding under your porch bit. Damn, I should rewatch Up. It's been years.
Up kind of rules. And so much of the memory now is that sad first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But, the rest of the movie is not like that.
No, the rest of the movie is, old men fighting each other and, dogs.
Yeah. The dog can talk. It's awesome. So, yeah, the last thing I have is what I already said, which is Owen Wilson's name is not on the film when it comes out.
Tracks. This is making me think about if it was the same movie except it was Michael Cera playing against Owen Wilson. If Owen Wilson was in the Jack Black role, I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, I like Jack Black in this, but it feels like two different energies just kind of doing their own things.
Yeah, and Jack Black in this is doing very stock Jack Black, which he's good at. Mm-hmm. And this was really I'm looking at his filmography, and this was his only movie that came out in 2009, but the year before that was Be Kind, Rewind, Kung Fu Panda, Tropic Thunder. The year after that was Gulliver's Travels, another one I distinctly remember coming out. It's sort of it's stock Jack Black of this era, and it just I don't know, it kind of took me out a bit because it's Michael Cera is doing Michael Cera, but in a way in a context that it's very funny to see Michael Cera in these situations, but Jack Black, it's just that's Jack Black.
Yeah, this is the era where Jack Black hosted the Kids' Choice Awards twice in a row. I think. Yeah. This was that era.
I forget how many eras of Jack Black there are because he's so omnipresent.
This current because because he's still in the Jumanji movies. But when the Jumanji movies came out, that was kind of a different Jack Black era from the one we're in now.
Yeah.
Like post Mario, it's like he's become like, you know, the Gen Alpha star again. He's like gone back to a new generation.
Yeah. Well, we've sort of covered the plot of this. The plot is really straightforward, in that it's just Jack Black and Michael Cera play these two like cavemen who
hunter-gatherers.
Thank you. Who eat from the forbidden tree of fruit. The fruit tree. They eat the forbidden fruit. No knowledge, and then they get kicked out of their village, and they like go through the rest of the Book of Genesis, ending up in Sodom.
The rest of like the first half.
Yeah,
of Genesis.
yeah.
Except for Noah, because you have an almighty flaw.
Yeah, and like they're
and also ancient Rome.
Yeah, they're kind of just throwing a lot of stuff around, and there's like, you know, very late aughts, like just absolute bare bones romance arcs that both the characters have that are really atrocious, and just like there's so nothing here. And there's some great cameos. There's some great random people in it, like Vinnie Jones being in this movie. I was so unprepared for him to be on screen. I had to Google and be like, is that Vinnie Jones in this movie?
Yeah. A couple people I liked Harold Ramis playing Adam. I liked when Kyle Gass shows up. I liked when Paul Scheer is the bricklayer who's just like a volunteer.
Yep.
That was a really fun bit.
Yep. Bill Hader shows up in a very surprising way, where he's under so much makeup that I didn't realize it was Bill Hader, and then he started talking, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" And the note I wrote down was "OMG, Bill Hader under all the blackface?" ?
Yeah. He is the sort of shaman of the village that Jack Black and Michael Cera are from, and he is in blackface paint.
They go the whole 9 yards.
It's you know, it's the kind of thing that in 2009 it was like, well, it's not really blackface, and then now it's like, I wouldn't do this. Whatever it is, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But he is funny.
Yeah.
He does slip some good lines out. There's a blooper reel during the credits, and he does like a There Will Be Blood bit.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. The beginning, my favorite part about the beginning is that they're so clearly just in like Griffith Park. Like it's an LA location that I've seen 1,000 times before, and they're just like, well, now it's ancient, I guess. They're doing nothing to cover up that it's just that one location where everyone films.
Yeah, they're just nondescript was they again, like the money comes through on screen in this. Like there are a lot of beautiful locations, great production design. There's the like whatever it is, like when they're in Sodom, there's like the big flaming head that they go. It's like a bullhead or something. Like that's
sets.
awesome. Yeah. And it's quite homophobic.
Yes, even more than I was anticipating out of a late aughts sort of comedy like this. It just never really stopped.
Sort of more and more as it goes.
Yes, it gets worse.
Like when they get to Sodom, it's like they do a little bit of it, and you're like, okay, and then they continue to build on that.
Yeah. I will say I did laugh at. I think it's Abel who gives the line where he's like, well, the best part about Sodom is the sodomy. So I thought that was funny. But that's the only laugh that they were able to get out of me with this extended gag.
Yeah, I think my favorite part of the movie is the Paul Rudd part, when you have Paul Rudd as Abel and David Cross as Cain, and they kind of we're introduced to them, and they are already fighting.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd gets killed within a matter of a couple minutes. There's the pretty great line where David Cross is like, "What have I done again? What have I done some more? What have I continued to do?" That part's great fun, and David Cross and Paul Rudd play off of each other in a really fun way. There aren't a lot of other, and I kind of like the bit with the bit with Abraham and the Jews, where it's like they're in I don't know, I kind of like that the Jews are just like this little cult that's like, "Whoa, we're gonna chop off the tips of our penises, and I'm gonna sacrifice my son." And, it's just like it's really it's a fun little perspective of just like how that stuff that's in the Bible looks if you're just like an outside observer.
Yeah. My favorite stuff in the movie, generally, mostly it was Michael Cera, and the way that Michael Cera would deliver some of his lines. Like, the line that I have not stopped thinking about since I saw this was, "We threw rock together." He's like trying to be like, "Oh, we were friends as children. We threw rock together."
Yeah.
And there's other little bits like that where Michael Cera just manages to get the absurdity of the contemporary language with the ancient setting in a way that really tickled me, and definitely made him the highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah, I mean, to get back to the Owen Wilson thing, I think Michael Cera brings a lot of pathos to his character. He makes it feel kind of real and awkward and funny, and like it's a real human being. And Jack Black does not do that.
No.
And Owen Wilson could have struck that balance of being like the bigger, louder kind of oaf of the two, but also matching Michael Cera's energy and being like a weird little freak.
Yeah, I think I could just picture the two of them in like one of the scenes where they're like walking through the desert, and Owen Wilson and Michael Cera's doing like, "Oh, I think I have sand in my ass," and Owen Wilson would be like, "Oh, like there's just something about their dynamic that I think I really wish had been what happened, because I think I would have liked that a lot.
There are a lot of missed opportunities. It's a movie that really doesn't work.
No. It just doesn't come together.
Yeah, but every like individual moment, you're like, there could be something here.
It's a premise that could be fun. It's it's the history of the world. It's Life of Brian. It's the original concept for Bill and Ted was that they would go back in time, and that these two, that Bill and Ted were accidentally the reason for everything bad that happened in history. Like, there's something about the like random people traveling through history, putting all these eras against each other, that is really fun. This movie just doesn't do it as well as any of those other examples.
Yeah, it's it's just mostly not funny enough, and I think like a lot of the issues with like the way that it's paced and the sort of the way that it kind of fails to like fully deliver on what it kind of promises, like that would all be fine if it was really funny. Yeah, and it's not.
No, there's like a couple gags that are fun, but it drags, and the last 50 minutes are such a slog. I was like, I just want to turn it off. And my boyfriend was like, I'm amazed you're finishing it. And I'm like, I have to finish it.
Yeah, because at that point they basically drop the gags except for homophobia, and they're like, now it's just like, pay attention to these characters, and it's like, why?
No, I don't care about any of these characters. I don't care about blonde girl with scene kid haircut or like high priest character we've created specifically so that we could be homophobic for 50 minutes. I don't need any of that.
Yeah, and it's also just like they're like the you're in Sodom. You could introduce like Lot and have like the Lot's wife thing with the salt and do jokes with that. Like they just choose to be like, let's bring our characters together. Let's bring Cain back into the story and just kind of like tie it all up neatly. And it's like it's not that kind of movie, man. No. It's like they got to that point and like developed a completely different writing ethos for the back half.
Yeah.
Speaking of expensive comedies that did not go over well and kind of killed the genre, our next movie is called Dinner for Schmucks.
This one's an interesting one because for some reason I had always thought that this was a really successful movie. I don't know why, but for some reason in like my hindbrain memory of this era of comedy, this was something that in my brain had gone over well, and then to watch it and realize that like no, this was a huge flop. It was like, oh yeah, this makes more sense than what my brain was trying to tell me had happened.
I'll say it definitely went platinum in my house.
I feel like maybe there was like a kid in my class who talked about it a lot, or like I had older cousins who really loved it or something. There has to be some reason why it was big in my brain.
I realized as I started watching it and just going through like the opening credit sequence, like I saw this movie a lot when I was a kid. And I was trying to think about what it was that compelled me about it, and I think it was the mice.
The mice are the best part of the whole movie.
I think those enchanting little sequences with the mice just like, drew me in, and I was along for the ride.
The mice are great. The rest of the movie is who knows? Let's get into it.
Yeah. This had sort of the longest development process of any of the movies we're talking about, because it's based on a French film called the American title is The Dinner Game, but the French title translates to Dinner for Cunts.
I can see why the Americans were like, we can't put that on a case.
Yeah, and it's the same basic premise. It's like these rich people have this dinner and they invite kooky characters and kind of laugh at them. In France, it came out in 1998. It was the number 2 movie that year, second only to Titanic in France. So they're pretty well over there. It came out in April 98, and by August, DreamWorks is developing an American remake. It seems like this was kind of a Spielberg pet project as a producer. He was really into Dinner for Cunts. He was interested in it when it was a stage play before it got made into a movie. He held a screening for it at his ranch, and so he kind of like gets DreamWorks on board to make a remake of it. Initially, the guy who directed the original, Francis Weber, is going to do the American remake as well. He had done an American remake of his own movie before, I believe. He did Three Fugitives, which was a remake of his movie The Fugitives, and it was with like Martin Short and Nick Nolte. So he was someone who had been around the block a few times. He also did La Cage aux Folles, which became The Birdcage. Like he was in the pocket. The idea was kind of like, schmuck does mean penis in Yiddish, and it's sort of like, it's like you can't do 1-to-1. There's not really like a word for cunt that's okay to put on a movie poster. in February of '99, it was announced that Steve Kloves was going to write the script. He had just written Wonder Boys. He would go on to write every Harry Potter movie. He wrote all of them. Yeah. I didn't know that either. It kind of explains why there's sort of a continuity to those movies, because they worked with a few different directors and stuff, but like you can kind of get the sense that like they were all scripted by the same person.
That it does make a lot of sense.
So for a few years, the script is being worked on, bounced between people. It's not until 2003 that the movie finds a star, Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, of course. I feel like I could have guessed that. You could have given me like 5 tries and I would have gotten it.
Yeah, this is like Ali G is blowing up. Like Sacha Baron Cohen's team is very eager to get him in a movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, dinner for cunts, let's do it. It makes a lot of sense. By this point, it had been bounced around to a couple different producers and writers. The most recent draft was written by Ken Dario and Cinco Paul, who would go on to create Schmigadoon. They wrote the Despicable Me movies. What a big Hollywood pair. Here's a good paragraph from Variety. Looking ahead to 2005, the studio is readying its first musical, an adaptation of Sondheim's Sweeney Todd, the David Benioff scripted actioner Alpha, and David Fincher helmed heist thriller The Lookout, sequels to Gladiator and Old School, remakes of Ikiru, The Party, and the Korean horror pick A Tale of Two Sisters, and the date comedies Date School, and the comedies Date School and Dinner with Schmucks.
Huh.
So to run down
There's
the list
a lot
there.
Happening there.
Sweeney Todd does come out in 2007.
A great movie, in my opinion.
Really good movie. Alpha, the David Benioff movie, stays in development until 2013. Eventually, Martin Campbell is set up to direct it, and Chris Hemsworth is going to star. It never gets made. The Lookout, David Fincher drops out. The screenwriter ends up directing it. It comes out with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 2007. Gladiator 2 goes through many iterations before finally getting made in 2024. This version kind of stalled out because the studio wanted to go realistic and follow Maximus's son. Russell Crowe and Ridley Scott both really wanted Maximus to return from the dead.
Hell yeah.
This is the era of the Nick Cave Christ Killer draft that they are throwing around of like Maximus, killing Jesus and being part of every war in history. To go back to what we were suggesting for year one, would have been a much better Gladiator
that
2
rocked.
if they had the guts to do it. So Old School 2, which was going to be called Old School Dos, the script was turned down by both stars. Will Ferrell said in 2008, I read the script, some super funny set pieces, but I don't know. I think Vince had the same reaction. We're just kind of doing the same thing again.
Well,
fair enough.
Yeah.
The Ikiru remake is in development for a long time. Tom Hanks really wants to do it. Jim Sheridan's going to direct it. Falls through the cracks. There's a British remake of Ikiru with Bill Nighy that came out in 2022 called Living. I believe Bill Nighy was Oscar nominated for it.
Definitely.
The Party is another movie that Sacha Baron Cohen wanted to do. It's a remake of a Peter Sellers movie. Peter Sellers does brownface in the original, so I think they kind of, just kind of fell off. They were like, let's not. Tale of Two Sisters was an attempt to capitalize on the success of The Ring, do another K-horror remake. This got made in 2009. It was called The Uninvited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
And Date School would have starred Drew Barrymore as an unlucky-in-love woman who turns to a dating coach played by Owen Wilson. This was going to be a Jon Favreau project, and then I guess he got busy with something.
Yeah, I don't know what that could be.
Yeah, Jon Favreau just, hasn't been able to make that Drew Barrymore movie yet.
He did make Cowboys and Aliens
so
there.
He did. Maybe that started out as Date School, and he was like, "What if there were cowboys and aliens in it?"
Half expecting that end of that sentence to be that Date School became Hitch with Will Smith, but was that earlier?
I believe Hitch did come out in 2005.
So there's something in the water.
It was out there, you know. Dinner with Schmucks was part of that set. Another great little semantic change. In late 2004, a new writer is announced, Simpsons writer John Vitti, who had worked on the LG show with Sacha Baron Cohen. No directors attached at this time, and now it's Dinner for Schmucks. 2006, new writers are announced again. Michael Handelman and David Guion, who had just made a little movie called The X.
It's all coming together.
And they are the credited writers on Dinner for Schmucks.
Yeah. Yep.
So we got two movies with the same set of writers on them. Although it seems like The X was kind of like their script that got fucked with, and this is one where they were kind of there in the middle, and they just ended up having their names on it. Sacha Baron Cohen had his fingers in a lot of pies at this time, so, you know, he was really passionate about Borat, and he was getting attached to a lot of other things. There was this Tina Fey project he was going to do that never got made, and he was still doing LEG, so it's just kind of like it would start to get traction, and then Sacha Baron Cohen would go do something else.
Yeah.
It's also a turbulent time for DreamWorks. They have money troubles throughout the early aughts. They got bought by Paramount in 2005. Then in 2006, Borat comes out. Sacha Baron Cohen does not get any less busy. Yeah. Within months, it's announced that his next role would be in Sweeney Todd.
Yes, and he's so good in that, too.
He is good at it.
Apparently, for that audition, he just brought the entire musical score to Fiddler on the Roof, and he just started from the beginning and just sang Fiddler on the Roof. And they were like, yeah, he can sing.
Awesome. That's really all you need. He can fucking, he's got presence. So if he can sing, then it's fuck yeah. Yeah, Baron Cohen. And he makes sense for that era of Tim Burton, Johnny Depp.
Yeah. And Pirelli is a small but very it's a moment in the show where you can really play with a character.
The next year, Bruno is announced, and Variety reports that after Baron Cohen completes that film, his intention is to follow it with Dinner for Schmucks. There is also the news that the project has found its director in Jay Roach, who successfully turned Austin Powers and Meet the Parents into hit blockbuster franchises. So I think there's an idea that maybe he can do the same with Dinner for Schmucks. Variety announces this alongside two other projects DreamWorks has in development. Aaron Sorkin's Trial of the Chicago 7 and Steven Spielberg's Lincoln with Liam Neeson.
Huh. There's a real sliding doors moment.
Yeah. I can see that working. I can
definitely see that. It would be a different... That would be the late aughts, early 2010s Lincoln movie.
Yeah, and this is before there's a Neeson action movie every February. It's an era where if Liam Neeson did Lincoln, he would go in a whole different direction.
Yeah.
We might never get Naked Gun if Liam Neeson did Lincoln.
That's true. I'm very happy with Liam Neeson's career. I would like to think that he is as well.
Yeah, he seems to be having a good time.
He still shows up for those movies. He doesn't geezer teaser
True.
It by being doing the classic Dolph Lundgren thing of being on the cover, but then filming for half a day in a room that's separate from all the other actors.
Mm-hmm. In 2008, DreamWorks splits from Paramount, organizes a huge reshuffle. They pare down their 200-plus development slate to 6 movies a year, and they have this divorce where they have to figure out who gets what projects that are currently in development. Paramount takes custody. They take joint custody of about 40 of the movies in development. Variety cites 3 projects that are part of that. Steven Spielberg's Trial of the Chicago 7, so it was going to be Sorkin writing and Spielberg directing. Steven Spielberg's adaptation of the 39 Clues.
Oh, damn. There's a throwback. Whoa.
Yeah, I remember 39 Clues was a fucking moment in middle school.
Damn. And Steven Spielberg 39 Clues feels like it's just the precursor to Steven Spielberg Ready Player One. Like, it feels like a direct line between those two projects.
Absolutely. And Sacha Baron Cohen's Dinner with Schmucks.
They just keep going back and forth.
So we're back to With now. In November, reporting on the split and the films that are orphaned by it continues, it's revealed that Sacha Baron Cohen is no longer attached to Dinner for Schmucks.
Okay. They've gone back yet again.
In December, DreamWorks is looking to other studios to take on some of the budget, and now Steve Carell is attached.
Yep.
Now we're getting somewhere. Steve Carell is another one of these guys, like Sacha Baron Cohen in 2003, who's like, I want to get in a lot of movies right now.
Oh, yeah.
In a whirlwind couple of months, DreamWorks drops a potential deal with Universal for a more lucrative one at Disney. They have some expensive projects on their slate that they need someone to pick up the slack for, including Dinner for Schmucks, which had a $69 million budget. More than year one.
What? This is... What movie was I looking at for this that was somehow connected to... Maybe it was this one that came out the same year that How Do You Know came out? When was that?
Yeah, I believe that was the same year at 2010.
Because I was looking at Paul Rudd's filmography after watching this movie, and I was like, damn, 2010 sucked for Paul Rudd.
It did.
What a doozy. 2 movies with such massively overblown budgets, amongst other problems, and then flopping.
Yeah, two of the most legendary, like, modern day flops, kind of. Like, and he's in fucking Quantumania. He's in 3 of the most legendary modern day flops. 3 movies that killed their respective genre.
But we still love him.
And
this
he's
is
still
the
walking
real
around.
power of Paul
We
Rudd.
still love him. Absolutely. He can walk away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
With his hands
When
clean.
is Paul Rudd going to do a horror turn that's more than just Halloween?
It would be great if he was in, like, Halloween.
Yes. Oh my God. That would have been so
They brought him back.
They brought back so many other people for that movie. Like, why not
Yeah.
Paul Rudd?
They should put him in the next Scream. Just really, really sink
Paul
it.
Rudd in the next Scream as himself would be incredible. Like, that's almost what I want.
Totally.
Is like
sort of a Scream 4 style, like we're doing it in Hollywood.
Yeah. Which is, I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Scream went. Did the new one do well at all? I wasn't paying attention.
It made a lot of money.
Yeah. They'll come to Hollywood next. We'll get Paul Rudd as himself. They'll maybe do some
and hopefully
really heavy-handed, like, oh, Miramax scary stuff. We'll see.
We'll see. February 2009, it's reported that Paul Rudd is circling the film, although James L. Brooks' untitled romantic comedy is scheduled to shoot around the same time.
There you go.
So they're not sure how that's going to work out. They've got to figure out the scheduling conflict. In March, the movie's finally on rails. Rudd and Carell are attached. They figured out financing. Riding the success of The Hangover, Zach Galifianakis boards in August 2009. Another guy who blows up and is like, get me in everything. Dinner for Schmucks is one of 35 films that got a flashy tax incentive to shoot in California from Governor Schwarzenegger. That took about a $7 million bite out of the budget. So they saved, about 10% that way. June 2010, a month before its release, the movie was pushed back a week to avoid competition with Inception and Salt. 2 movies that did phenomenally well. Inception a little more so than Salt, but Salt, I mean, Angelina Jolie was at least at that time the kind of movie star who could take a movie like Salt and make it a massive hit, even though no one likes it. The movie came out to mixed reviews, poor box office, did not make back its budget. It opened at number 2 behind the third week of Inception, so the pushback didn't do much. Steve Carell was nominated for Best Actor, Comedy, or Musical at the Saturn Awards for this. He lost to Michael Cera for Scott Pilgrim.
Yep. Everything is so interconnected. We've reached a sort of place in this process where I actually know and can like physically remember like the DVD at the library for like every one of these movies.
Totally. That like it's especially, I think, because we're covering an actor and an actor who likes to work with his friends a lot. We are like things are coming together in really satisfying ways.
Like I'm looking at Steve Carell's filmography right now, and in 2007 he had 4 movies come out, including the aforementioned Evan Almighty and Dan in Real Life, and then he did Horton Hears a Who and Get Smart. And then 2010, the same year that Dinner for Schmucks came out, was the same year as Despicable Me and Date Night. What? It was like what? Somebody was working. Steve Carell was working hard.
Yeah, his agent was working hard too. Yeah. He was probably paid a lot for all of those movies.
Yeah.
I remember Dan in Real Life had a ton of marketing, and it was just like Steve Carell's head on a stack of pancakes, and it was like, I don't want to see this.
I remember Date Night having a bunch of marketing, and I remember watching it on like
the one poster with like the gray background.
Because this was like Tina Fey was having her moment too, and I really wanted to see it because I loved Tina Fey in 30 Rock, and I loved Steve Carell in The Office, and so we'll watch Date Night. Despicable Me I saw in theaters.
Yeah, absolutely. Written by the 2 guys who were writing this at some point. Or were writing the It all comes together. So again, I start this movie. It starts with a Beatles song. So that's a little bit of the budget there. They spared no expense for sure. And again, the opening sequence with the mice, I'm just like, I watched this movie so many times when I was a kid. I saw it in theaters. We had it on DVD for sure. We would throw it on. It was a weird couple of years, because by like late 2013, I was thinking of myself as kind of a cinephile, and I was like, you know, kind of like brushing off anything I kind of liked when I was younger. But for that year or two there, I was way into Dinner for Schmucks, and I don't know why. Probably the mice.
The mice are fun, and it has that element that a lot of these movies we're talking about from this era have for me, where it's like there was something about it just being like the DVD that was there, and you would just put it in. Like we're just barely at the beginning of streaming and like Netflix. Like you can get your Netflix DVDs at this point. And but like I was old enough to like go to the library and check stuff out, but not old enough to like drive to Blockbuster. So it was like I had a certain selection that I was able to pick from, and I would just watch sort of the same things over and over. There's something very specific about this era, like these comedies and this type of like feel good but funny, pretty high budget, but then like still kind of like gross out comedy. I feel like I was watching Night at the Museum constantly, you know? Like I was popping in Over the Hedge every other day.
And I'll say this, I do rate Dinner for Schmucks higher than the previous 2 movies we talked about, because there's nothing objectionable about it. It just kind of doesn't come together. It's kind of not funny enough, and it kind of like, you know, doesn't like you don't really like any of the characters, and it just sort of like meanders in that way. But it again, it's a very digestible comedy.
Yeah, digestible is a good way to put it. It's digestible. It's got a bunch of great people in it. Bruce. My first note I have is Bruce Greenwood with 2 hearts.
Bruce Greenwood is really good in
and this is like right when he was doing Star Trek too, so it's like the era of Bruce Greenwood that I know and love the most. We've got some great Paul Rudd physical comedy. It's, it's a movie. David Walliams is there.
It's fine. Yeah, Octavia Spencer shows up.
Now there was a shock. And Chris O'Dowd. Yeah. Chris O'Dowd was in the opening credits. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, Chris O'Dowd is in this movie. And then it took the entire movie for Chris O'Dowd to show up. And the guy that plays the Vulture dude, who is he?
Who plays who? Oh, the Vulture guy. Yeah, fuck. Which one's the Vulture guy? I'm trying to figure out with the Vulture.
Randall Park is in this movie.
Schmucks. Randall Park, Patrick Fischler.
Yes.
Is the and at the beginning you've got Kristen Shaw and Nick Kroll doing some funny little back and forth, and it's like, oh hi, and they're so young and cute. Fischler is the Hawk guy. Randall Park I always love. Jeff Dunham is in it.
It feels so of its era, which I say a lot.
Yeah,
but it does. It is a relic of this last gasp of comedy before we went into the dark ages, where like Avengers was what we thought of as comedy.
Yeah, and fucking Jermaine Clement as the
artist dude.
Guy who the wife does photography for.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, good cast on this. It's so the thing is, the premise of this movie. Why don't you get into it?
The premise of this movie is that Paul Rudd is trying to move up in his whatever the financial. He's not a stockbroker, but he's hunter gatherer. I don't know. He works at a company.
Yeah,
and
he's trying to get on the fast track.
He's trying to fast track. There you go. And so to get on his boss, Bruce Greenwood's side, he agrees to go to this dinner that his boss has where everyone is supposed to bring basically an idiot. And then he decides who's the biggest idiot, and they win a prize. And there's sort of this other stuff going on with the deal he's trying to make it work, that Paul Rudd's trying to make with this Swiss guy played by David Walliams. And that's happening, and that's going to be his big break into the company. But the main sort of plot that all of that is sort of structured around is that he meets this guy. What is his name? Barry. Yeah, he meets Barry, played by Steve Carell, who's just sort of a very eccentric hobby taxidermist who works for the IRS. And he goes, well, here's my idiot to bring to dinner. This will be great. But then Barry won't leave, and they end up spending 48 hours together. And it, of course, ends with Paul Rudd being like, well, he's been nice to me and actually tried to help me, and this boss is being horrible, and it's mean to make fun of people, so I'm going to stand by my idiots or whatever. Yeah, that's the basic arc of the movie. There's the girlfriend that he's trying to get engaged to, and the artist guy who he thinks his girlfriend's having an affair with, but it's mostly about Paul Rudd and Steve Carell being on screen together, and Steve Carell being sort of doing a Forrest Gump level of unidentifiable, vague, autism thing, that's sort of happening the whole time, and Paul Rudd is just mad about it and wants his life back. And it's a lot of very awkward, oh, we thought this was gonna happen. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a thing where at first you meet Carell's character and you're like, oh, this guy's so sweet. And I love his little taxidermy project, and it's so cute or whatever. And but he keeps fucking things up for Rudd in such like obvious and annoying ways that you don't root for Rudd because he's, you know, the evil corporate guy who's taking advantage of this guy, but you can't really root for Carell either.
No.
There was something that, and at first I was like, oh, I must remember this from watching the movie so many times as a kid. And then I realized there was something that I thought was going to happen that didn't happen, which is I got to like 10 minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, I see where this is going. Paul Rudd is the schmuck that they're inviting to dinner. And I was like, it felt so obvious to me because I was like, he keeps making an ass of himself in front of these guys. And like, he's, you know, that's going to be where it goes. I must remember that from all the times I saw the movie before. And then that doesn't happen. And I feel like that is kind of a missed opportunity.
Yes, it's the Hudsucker proxy where you take the character who's like your main focal point and you show how the corporation sees him, and then it gives you someone to really root for. And then you get the fun of like what happens if the person that everyone, you know, looked down on succeeds. It has the lighthearted sort of heartwarmingness of it works more in that structure, I think, than in, oh, this guy that was taking advantage of me is now decided to be my friend.
Because, like, we're introduced to him, and he speaks up at the meeting, and he says, let's turn these bombs into lamps, and then they immediately invite him to the dinner. And I was like, oh, I see where this is going.
That scene where they bring him into the office was so straight out of One Battle that I was like, having flashbacks. I was having flashbacks to Conan doing the bit from One Battle.
To Conan, and then they put Mr. Beast on the door. I was thinking, because the guys who are like higher up are like, we're collectors, and I was like, this movie could go in a very different direction right now. I would love for this to be a horror movie from this point on.
The premise is fun, and the premise is very French in a way that makes me almost forgive it some of the ways that it doesn't come together, because it just feels so heavily like a Hollywood movie trying really hard to do something that would be fun in a like more quirky, less mainstream way. Like the point that my boyfriend had that kind of blew my mind about, you know, near the last half of the movie was, he said, this would be so much better if it was Wes Anderson directing. I said, yes, actually. You give this premise to Wes Anderson, you create a movie that I would probably really like.
Yeah, and I think like there are clear elements of like, I mean, I think the whole taxidermy like bit, and you know the way that they kind of style the mansion where they have the dinner and the Zach Galifianakis, like there are clearly elements that are riffing on sort of that Wes Anderson style. And you know, in the same way that Year One kind of came out of Owen Wilson coming out of Wes Anderson movies, like, you know, you can see how Wes Anderson sort of influenced comedy and led to this sort of like awkwardness with these weird sort of like larger than life type characters, like it sort of worked its way in. And I think there's definitely a Wes Anderson version of Dinner for Schmucks that really works. I also think that the premise works more in 1998 when, you know, this idea of like, oh, they invite people to dinner just to make fun of them is like, oh, the depravity of the rich. And by 2010, like, that's the internet.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what everyone does on the internet all day. And you end up with a story where the class satire of it feels completely lost, basically.
Yeah. Even when they're at the beginning, when they're explaining the premise to Paul Rudd, and they show him a video of like the guy who won the last dinner on their iPod Nano, to be like, this is the guy who won the last one. Look at this Apple product placement. And it's like, okay, yeah, so you don't need the dinner. You can just pull it up on YouTube on your iPod Nano.
There are a decent handful of good jokes in this. I think Zach Galifianakis is pretty good in this.
I hadn't seen Zach Galifianakis on my screen in so long. I almost got nostalgia just from like his face.
Yeah,
and, like the way he does.
Yeah,
that, like,
especially like
he does his like peacocking around sort of thing. I
yeah,
was like, damn, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, because he doesn't like show up in movies like this anymore, and it just kind of brings you back to that era, and you're like, yeah, this guy was the next big thing, and you kind of feel that again. You're like, as soon as he comes in, and they use him really well, they bring him in as Carell's boss, who is like more eccentric, but kind of like the dom in their relationship, and believes that he has mind control powers that only work on Steve Carell. It's a great little role for Zach Galifianakis that he just like totally crushes.
Yeah. It was also just seeing Steve Carell on screen kind of gave me the same feeling of like, damn, it's been a long time. Because like I know he did like The Morning Show, and he's done some others. He did Foxcatcher. Like he was doing serious stuff for a while, but he's like, I hear his voice now, and I'm just like, that's Gru. That's the Despicable Me guy, which is crazy to think of back to this time when he was that guy from The Office, and Despicable Me had either just come out or was just about to come out.
Yeah, you don't really see him in this mode where he's playing like a silly character anymore. No. He's like when he's in a movie, even when it's a comedy, he is like himself.
Yeah, he's like the dad. Wasn't he the dad in the Jennifer Lawrence one, where she's dating the teen?
Was he? It's No Hard Feelings.
Yeah. I think he plays the dad in that. That's what he's now like the.
No, Matthew Broderick is the dad in that.
But it's that kind of role, you know.
He does that kind of thing. He was in he was in Asteroid City. He was good in that. But he hasn't really done the like he has another sitcom now. He was in Mountainhead. That's the most recent thing I remember him from.
Yes.
And yeah, he's playing like a rich douchebag.
Yeah.
But he's not playing like Barry, you know?
He's not doing I feel like he did Michael Scott for so long that then he's like totally removed himself from like that level of exaggeration in how he does his comedy, which is like respect. I get that. You don't want to be too tied to that character, but also you're also the guy from Despicable Me. So like
right. I think there's an element of like, you know, he gets that out when he does Despicable Me movies.
That's true.
And then he's like, in my live action stuff, I want to be taken seriously. Although I think the new Minions movie doesn't even have Gru in it.
Probably. They've moved beyond. They've evolved past the need for Gru.
It's true. Originally, Gru made them, and then they were like, actually, they've been around since the dawn of time, idiot.
They were just hibernating for the entirety of most of the 19th century. Let's not think about it.
So one of the subplots in this movie is that Paul Rudd has a stalker named Darla, played by Lucy Punch.
Love Lucy Punch. Was so glad to see her.
Yeah. I think that subplot gets a little... I think this movie is pretty misogynistic.
This movie is so 2010s in the way that it just sort of like throws shit at the screen, and you're like, I'm pretty sure we knew this was offensive in 2010. You're just trying to like do it fast enough that like no one would notice. But
I do love the sequence where Paul Rudd's talking to his wife on the phone. Darla's in the other room with Barry, trying to make it sound like they're having sex, but then with Barry, it just evolves into them doing Looney Tunes shit for like 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just chasing each other around and throwing things.
Yes.
That stuff's really fun. And there's a great line in that scene where she says, "Want to lick cheese off my naked body?" And he says, "Oh, I'm sure Tim has plates."
Yeah. The like half of a turtleneck that Zach Galifianakis is wearing did get me too. That got a real laugh out of me.
Yeah. When he takes it off and it's just the collar.
Yeah. That gag always gets me because that was a gag in The Big Bang Theory too that got me. Back when that show was relevant. Oh, it's that era.
Yeah, there's some funny stuff in this. I like when we get to Octavia Spencer, she's like a medium,
She
right?
can talk to dead
and
pets.
she's kind of she can talk to dead pets, and she's just having her own little horror movie going on. like if we were following this character, it would be like a fucking Sam Raimi movie. Which is she in Drag Me to Hell, or am I making that up? I feel like she's in Drag Me to Hell. She's one of the coworkers.
Oh yeah. There's a movie I should rewatch.
I rewatched it a couple weeks ago. It's so good.
When I watched it, I was so deep in like Bruce Campbell zone that the fact that he didn't have a cameo annoyed me, and I was like, "Fine, whatever. Drag me to hell. You don't have Bruce in it."
It's awesome. They fucking drag her to hell. Like, what more do you want? It felt weird to me that the girlfriend didn't know about Darla, because it's like, if he had a stalker, why wouldn't he tell his girlfriend about it?
He was like reaching out to him on his computer at home over some like clearly very open like text chat that Barry is able to immediately see and respond to.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole girlfriend character was so like stock woman, like nothing. There was zero substance to her character. And then at the end of the movie, when she like loses a big gig, it's like, oh, haha, it's fine because at least she and Paul Rudd made it work.
Yeah, Stephanie Shostak, by the way, pretty
Yeah.
good. Not, she brings a little charm when she's on screen for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking through my notes. I have a note here. If I had a nickel for every movie where Steve Carell plays an eccentric creator of miniatures.
Robert Zemeckis and his wonderful little Robert Zemeckis is that guy though. He's the one who's like, let me create my little figures and play my little games.
Yeah.
What if we did Beowulf, but it was
Absolutely.
all CG? What if I did a train movie?
What if I made a cartoon of my wife and she had huge tits? and his wife's in the other room like, yes.
And the whole time he's doing it with his Back to the Future money.
Let's see. Another good line. You like to curl up in the fecal position. That was a fun little, because they don't address it at all. I feel like if they had like hammered that in, it would have been a little annoying. Like the John Lennon line, the "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not," is like they kind of beat that into the ground a little bit. The fecal position, just saying it is pretty good.
I feel like the epilogue also like is doing too much. I don't need an epilogue that tells me what happened to these characters. It should have just ended with like it ending in the mess that it was, I think.
Yeah. This is another movie that like once we get to the dinner, and obviously we've been building up to the dinner, so it makes sense, but it feels like the fallout from the dinner goes for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And it's not a very long movie, but it's just like the bird gets loose and there's they have the mind control fight, and they're like, they have the first bit of the dinner and then they go out and they have the apology and then they come back in and he's with them now, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it drags.
Fun fact: the mansion where they shot the dinner is Wayne Manor from the '60s Batman show.
They should have gotten Adam West to be in this movie. Adam West as one of the
Adam West would have been great.
The Schmucks would have been amazing.
So good.
He could have
That's
just
such
been
a good
himself.
idea.
They'd be like, and for my idiot, I have brought Adam West.
Mm-hmm. He loved doing that. He loved just playing himself but being a weirdo. like that's his bread and butter.
Like in The Size of
And Adam West.
Watermelon, a brilliant film.
The Size of Watermelons. Pretty good
Everyone should
movie.
see it.
Please. Yeah, anything else about Dinner for Schmucks?
I think I've said all I have to say about it. It was okay.
Yeah, it's like fine.
Yeah.
It's not one you need to watch, but there are a couple decent things in it.
If you really love that era of comedy, it's another one for you.
Yes. So the final movie that we're talking about this month, is called Fun Mom Dinner.
It's certainly about a fun mom dinner.
It is.
Sort of.
And there ain't nothing wrong with a fun mom dinner. Sort of. It's about a mom dinner, and they have fun.
It's about some fun moms and an evening.
It's a fun mom night out. So this movie was written by Paul Rudd's wife of 23 years, Julie Rudd.
Yep.
Julie worked in PR. That's how they met. And she stopped working when her kids were born. And then around 2013, she's like, I want to get into writing. That was kind of my first passion before I started getting into PR. And she wants to write a movie about moms.
Yeah.
So she pitches it to her friend, the film producer Naomi Scott, wife of Adam Scott. And she loves it. They start working on it together. They work together over FaceTime because they're busy moms on opposite sides of the country. They're talking about like they decide to make it 4 moms because 5 moms would be too many. Like just they're just like, well, let's make a movie about moms. So Julie Rudd decides to write the script herself. She sort of writes it while her kids are at school first, and then she like builds time into her mom's schedule to write the movie. She sent the finished draft to Paul's agent and manager, who liked it and encouraged her to keep going. Initially, the movie was more of a caper. It was going to, it had the subplot of the phone being missing, but it was going to lead to them getting like wrapped up in this big phone smuggling ring, and it was going to have like a big action scene. And it was a writer friend of Julie's, Hadley Davis, who wrote Ice Princess, who suggested maybe let's lower the stakes. The prolific TV director Althea Jones came on board in April 2016. Cast was announced in June 2016 with Toni Collette, Katie Aselton, Bridget Everett, and Molly Shannon leading. 4 fun moms for sure. The movie premiered at Sundance in 2017.
Classic.
Alongside the likes of The Big Sick, Call Me By Your Name, Raw, Mudbound, Colossal, Little Hours, Wind River, It premiered at Sundance, didn't get great reviews, but it was distributed by the now defunct Momentum Pictures alongside Netflix. So in the US, it basically went straight to VOD in August. It had a very limited theatrical run. There aren't even like numbers for it. And then it came to Netflix later that year.
It's a solid Netflix film. If it was getting made
gives
these
Netflix
days,
for sure.
It would just be a Netflix movie.
I do want to point out there's a line in the IMDb trivia that says co-stars actor Paul Rudd and Maroon 5 frontman Adam Levine are real life best friends. That is not true.
That's true.
I think what they meant to say is that Paul Rudd and Adam Scott are best friends, and they heard that somewhere and got confused and thought that Paul Rudd and Adam Levine were best friends.
Yeah. They were like, certainly these two guys who haven't been in movies together before and worked together many times before, they're not friends. He's friends with...
Paul Rudd and Adam Scott were roommates, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's all connected.
They did 2 Days and all that good stuff. That movie was pretty good.
2 Days was good.
At one point, Althea Jones was going to make a Barbie movie. So when we did the Barbenheimer episode on my previous podcast, that got brought up that she was attached to Barbie with Anne Hathaway.
That would have been
probably
cute.
would have been. It would have been a much lighter. It would have been a good Barbie movie, but it wouldn't have been $1 billion Barbie movie.
Yeah. This movie also has a cameo from David Wayne, which I thought was fun. I was not anticipating him.
It's got David Wayne. It's got John Early. It's got him early. Let's say that. I was surprised to see him. Marcy Martin is in this, so it's got a nice little cast too. All these movies do. The Guild of Music Supervisors nominated this movie for Best Music Supervision for a film budgeted under $5 million. The winner for that award was Call Me by Your Name. Which I think is fair. I would have to say I would do the same thing.
I thought I literally have a note that just says 99 Luftballons in German. Strange choice as a karaoke ballad.
Gotta do it in German. Do it in German. It was also honored at the Yoga Awards, which are sort of the Spanish version of the Razzies. Adam Levine really has a mom tattoo, and they just added an S to the end to make it say moms.
That's really funny. No, that's some good trivia.
It is really
that's
good.
Really good.
Yeah. So that's my trivia on Fun Mom Dinner.
Yeah.
What's it about?
Well, okay. Fun Mom Dinner is about a dinner, sort of. Mm-hmm. It's about these 4 moms who all sort of have their own thing. Molly Shannon is recently divorced, single mom, trying to like get back in the dating pool, but is also like obsessed with Instagram and using her phone. There's Toni Collette plays like the older mom who's already had a bunch of kids go through school and is like so over being a mom and like doesn't want to hang out with any of the moms. Bridget Everett, who everyone at my work is a huge fan of. So when I got this DVD through Interlibrary Loan, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Bridget Everett," and like that became the talk of the day. She's this like ROTC like volunteer super mom, and then Katie Alliston is the sort of new mom who is a childhood friend of Toni Collette and is sort of getting used to this new school system, and she gets invited by the 2 other moms out for Fun Mom Dinner, and she drags Toni Collette along, and they start out having just sort of like a tense, awkward sort of mom dinner where they're like talking about PTO stuff, and Toni Collette isn't having a great time and they're mad at each other, but then they all get really high in the bathroom, and the whole rest of the movie is sort of the 4 of them as like quirky friends sort of letting loose. They stop at a Walgreens and they just buy a bunch of random shit. They go to a bar where Adam Levine is the bartender and owner and do karaoke, and at some point eventually the rest of the moms think that Adam Levine has kidnapped the new mom, Kate Allison, when really they've just like gone for a walk. And so then we get this whole like, we have to go after her, she's my friend, diving in the water sort of attempt at like an action-y thing. But it ends with them all sort of realizing the power of friendship, and yeah, their husbands are like doing their own thing at the same time. So we're kind of getting like an Adam Scott B plot about how he should be like a more relaxed, present dad.
Yeah, Adam Scott and Rob Hubel kind of do their own little. They get like locked out of the house, and they have their own little B plot going.
Yeah,
on.
It's cute. It's a movie that's very earnest, which I often talk about as being one of the things I look for the most in films. And so I enjoyed it. I had a pretty good time. There's some good gags. It's a really fun cast of people working on like a very palpably small budget, but clearly everyone is like having a good time. And I thought what it was sort of getting at about like motherhood and being a working mom felt very authentic. Even if it was like a very LA version of that, it was clear that this was like this was a woman writing about her own experience and sort of bringing in a lot of her friends to make a really sweet little movie about this very real thing. And it's aimless, but it's sweet and inoffensive.
Yeah. I kind of like the element of like how all of their ideas about like romance are kind of informed by John Hughes movies. And, you know, they were in the Jake Ryan fan club, and she kind of like gets her own little Jake Ryan moment and has like sort of the realization that she, you know, likes the way things are going for her.
Yeah.
You know, she comes to appreciate what she has after sort of having this fairy tale moment. That's a classic little thing that I always like.
Yeah. It's a movie about sort of finding the fun in what you already have. It's one of those where it's like you go on the crazy adventure to learn that what you really needed was at home the whole time, which is pretty classic. And they pull it off well for working with such a small scale to still like create that sense of sort of a journey.
Yeah, I get the sense that, you know, I don't know if everyone involved in the movie is like friends of Julie's, but obviously we know that a lot of them are, and, you know, it seems like they all were passionate about it and they had fun. Toni Collette is awesome.
Toni Collette is so good. I have a note that's just Toni Collette. She's hot and funny and doing the thing of like mom who's so tired of this and checked out, but like also clearly cares about her kids. She's killing it. It reminded me of oh my God, Are You the One? Is that the one that we watch? That it's Paul Rudd and it's like she's a Hollywood working mom.
Fuck.
Yeah. With Saoirse Ronan.
Oh, I Can Never Be Your Woman.
That's what it kind of reminded me of, and especially Toni Collette's character.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a LA mom and I don't put up with shit and I smoke weed in the bathtub, but like I'm still going to look after my kids and it's going to be sweet and fun.
Mm-hmm. Paul Rudd and David Wayne play Jewish dispensary owners. I thought they were gay Jewish dispensary owners, and then they talk about their wives, and I was like, that's a little bit of a bummer. But
that was the gag. That's fully 100% the gag. Like, when they mention, it almost feels like it was an improvised line where they're like, well, our wives. And, like, probably people off camera were, like, losing it. It felt their entire sequence felt very improvised in the very fun way. I wrote down the weed name that I liked the best was Ruth Bader Ganja, which is really good, especially for like four moms of this era to be like, oh, moms, you know what you want.
Yeah.
We have a weed named after Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah. And they have a fun rapport, and they're just like they know each other, and they're like, you know, they bounce off each other really well. There's the easy kind of tropey thing to do of like the moms being like fishes out of water at the dispensary. This is never a fish out of water movie. That like there's no point where someone is like in a place where they don't belong or is like out of their element. It's just like, you know, it's a fun mom dinner. They go out to the bar, they do karaoke, like and there are places where you don't typically see moms, but they are having a great time and just you know, killing it. It definitely has less conflict than the other movies we're looking at here. It's bubblier, fluffier, whatever you want to say. But it's nice.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It goes down easy. It left me feeling pretty good in a like, oh, that was fine. Mm-hmm. The other three movies that we watched left me feeling not good when I left them. In sort of various states of like, ugh. After Dinner for Schmucks, I had to put on Bill and Ted as like a palate cleanser. But Fun Mom Dinner was just like cute. I'd pull it up on Netflix and I'd watch it and I'd go, that was cute. And then I might recommend it to my mom and then I'd move on.
Yeah. Toni Collette. Yeah. Bridget Everett.
Yeah. Adam Levine is very funny that he's just in it.
Yeah. Like there's no meta gag about it. It's just like Adam Levine.
Yeah. And I do like the gag about him being like, my tattoo, and it says moms. He goes, I have 2 moms. I like that.
That's pretty good. I do like John Early's little part as the other bartender a lot too. This is like very very early John Early, but like, you know, just let a gay guy get his shit off for a minute. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I will say there are some jokes in this where it's very much like, oh, she was writing this for a couple of years, like in the early 2010s, and it's like now it's 2017 and they're talking about vajazzling and the bling ring and Katy Perry.
The bit where they're all smoking in the bathroom and they're explaining, I forget which mom is explaining what vajazzling is, but Bridget Everett goes, so you're telling me they took their bush that God gave them and they shave it away. And she delivers it so well. Bridget Everett is a delight in this whole movie. She's wearing like this she alternates between like a unicorn onesie and this gorgeous blue dress, and the whole time she's just like kicking ass, taking names, being so funny and bubbly. I thought all the moms did a great job. They were all just like killing it at doing what they needed to do, you know?
I think Katie Aselton's a great lead in this, and I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but like she you know, she can handle a comedy, you know. She can rein things in a cool way. She can be the woman equivalent of Paul Rudd. The bit with the teens stealing the phones is like a fun little you know, resolution to that whole side quest. Then they kind of like force the teens to do like an 80s prom sort of thing and slow dance, and it's like, this feels a little weird. but you know,
with its like almost total lack of conflict, there are parts where it felt like they just did stuff, like they just were like, we need something else for them to do. It needs to be, and this movie was only like 81 minutes. It is a breezy, brief little snippet of a movie, and even then they're like, we need something else for them to do. We need
it's kind of like
now
they like, and it's true of the dads too, who get locked out of the house and leave the kids in there alone, where it's like there's no consequences for anything that any character does in this movie.
No. There's like the maybe conflict of like, is Kate Aselton and Adam Scott, like, is their marriage gonna last? But because I could see this being a movie where it ends with them breaking up and it's like a heartfelt thing and it like works, but ultimately that's not what the movie is. It's a more like learn to be happy where you are narrative. But yeah, nothing else has consequences.
Yeah,
they almost climb on a stranger's boat and they just go like, well, whoops, time to go force some teens to dance.
Oopsie. They like, I will say, the vajazzling bit, at first I'm like, this is so dated and so like Snuggie era internet culture. But then when they actually go and get vajazzled at the end, and there's the sign outside the store that says, yes, we vajazzle. Like, I think it wrapped up in a fun way.
Yeah, it feels like a sketch show. It feels like a sketch show turned into a movie almost.
So we come to the age-old question. I mean, first of all, do we want to draft anything from these movies?
I know.
Because we're at the point where our rosters are pretty full. These are, you know, none of these are like the worst thing I've ever seen, but, you know, I wouldn't write home about any of them either.
Yeah. I sort of wrote down some draft ideas, but nothing... The only draft idea that I thought was genuinely really fun was best hair for the ex, because I just love that crazy ass weave thing that they've got going.
that Armisen has.
But other than that, like, yeah, I don't know.
I was thinking about like production type categories for year one, like production design for that, or like hair and makeup. But the thing is, my roster right now. Well, here's the question. I'm looking at categories that maybe you have that I don't.
Yeah.
Because that is where I might. Do I have? Interesting. Because that's where it's like, if there's something that I think I can kind of snatch. You have overnight delivery for costumes.
I do.
I don't. I Could Never Be Your Woman for costumes.
I think.
And I feel pretty good about that.
I think you're the only one that has original screenplay. Did I have? Yeah, I don't think I have a screenplay nomination. So far, there's only one original screenplay nomination total. It's just They Came Together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, pretty good one.
It is pretty good.
I don't have anyone in Best Cameo, and there are definitely a couple good cameos in this lineup.
There are good. I was tempted to maybe throw Rudd and Wayne in Fun Mom Dinner as Best Cameo, because it's a really fun cameo for both of them.
True.
And we rarely get to see both of them at the same time like that.
Yeah, and I was thinking about maybe like Paul Scheer in or Paul Rudd in year one. Their little bits. I was thinking like, I do think Amy Adams is really good in The X. I think Charles Grodin's really good in The X. I don't think they're going to make the supporting lineups. Yeah. So I am feeling like I am not going to draft anything from this slate of movies.
I don't think I'm going to draft anything. I'm tempted because who do I have? I think I have maybe one supporting actress nominee right now, which is not great. And you've got a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, I think you actually don't have a supporting actress.
Yeah, I don't have any supporting actress, but I've got multiple supporting actors, I think. Though I dropped 3 supporting actors last episode, so
yeah,
kind of cleaned house a little.
Yeah,
well, because I got Owen Wilson, and I said I don't need any of these other fools.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to try and trade you. I've got costume design for PS, and I'd kind of love to pick up Lily Tomlin for admission. If that could be possibly.
Let me see if I.
Unless there's something else.
Let me see if I can make a counter offer.
Yeah.
I would give you I guess Lily Tomlin is kind of one of those ones. Or you want one of my supporting actresses?
I would love a supporting actress.
So I have Lily Tomlin and Marcia Gay Harden. I would give you. I would want something a little juicier for Lily Tomlin, if I'm being honest.
I'm looking at that one and I'm thinking I gotta drop it, but.
Well, I would give you. I could take that trade and then drop it for something from this lineup, if there's anything that I think is really gonna go far in this lineup. Yeah, I think for a first step, I'll take that trade.
Okay.
I'll give you Lily Tomlin in exchange for Lily Tomlin trade for PS costumes. Okay. And then I will drop PS costumes for Toni Collette supporting actress.
Yep. Good. That's the only other thing I had written down. Toni Collette supporting actress, Paul Rudd, David Wayne best cameo, and best hair for The X. The part of me almost wants to give a shout out to production design and Dinner for Schmucks, but it's like I just want to give something to whoever in the art department made the mice, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want the mice.
The
to
other
win.
thing I was really thinking about, like before I went for Toni Collette, the other thing I was really thinking about was hair and makeup for the year one.
Yeah.
That was the other one that I was like, if I kind of came in and snatched that would be one to think about.
Yeah.
But at this point, I have taken Toni Collette, and unless there's anything else, I think that might be the end of our journey with the studio comedies.
Yeah. I'm really happy with my current roster.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like as we were going through it, we were like, well, these movies, there will be other movies that we'll want to swap in. But as we're coming back to them, maybe it's the nostalgia of having watched them earlier in this series. But I'm like, I think these are going to go far.
The one that I definitely am really happy with what I picked up when we did the early years. That really filled out my roster. Getting like Size of Watermelon for picture and cinematography for 2 days. Like, it really brought some life to...
I'm gonna do one more if we
please.
can. Cause let's see what I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing here with the categories that you have, because you have costumes, so, and I took your costumes and got rid of it, but I have costumes for that. So yeah, I am going to do I'm going to drop Fundamentals of Caring and Adapted Screenplay, and I'm going to take year one for makeup and hairstyling.
Interesting.
Should I say production design? We haven't done production design yet, so I'm going to say makeup and hairstyling. Yeah.
We could always start production design. We do.
True. We have a lot of
We
categories.
have a couple more months of movies to get through.
Yes.
Next month is going to be
very interesting.
It could really shake some things up.
I think, these are all going to be very interesting to talk about. And, it could be the kind of slate where we bring in that filmmaker who is going to be on this episode.
I do know, I know someone who is a friend who worked on Nerdland, or worked at the company when they were making Nerdland.
Yeah.
And I really am going to try to get her on here as a special guest.
I would love to try to get her on that episode. That would be ideal for me.
Yeah. Well, I'll reach out, make sure that we make that happen. Let's go through the full list. So the next movies we're going to talk about are all indie oddities. And so we're going to talk about Diggers.
We're going to talk about Prince Avalanche.
I'm excited about that. I remember when that came out. We're going to talk about All Is Bright.
And as we just said, we're going to talk about Nerdland.
So the only one of these I've heard of is Prince Avalanche, but I remember hearing good things about it. And I'm excited to finally dive into what I feel like. I remember Paul Rudd having a really good mustache in the posters.
Yeah. I feel like these are all movies that I have not even come close to thinking about watching before we got to this point. But I do know Prince Avalanche is a David Gordon Green, and I'm curious about that.
I'm a known David Gordon Green fan. I'm excited to see what that one brings.
I'm curious about all of these movies, and I think they are going to be interesting and fun to talk about. And I'm probably glad that I won't have COVID while I'm watching them.
Yeah, there'll be more to digest. And it will be... Well, I guess we'll talk about it then, but that will become our penultimate episode.
It will be. We'll have one more, and then we'll have the awards, and then we might do something in between before the next season, but we already have plans.
So stay tuned.
And thank you for listening. And please feel free to send us feedback. We gabbed a lot this episode. You got to be along for the ride. Yeah. You got to be. We are the Bellatar of podcasters. You got to be along for the ride.
My one friend just says, "I get a lot done," and I go, "Great."
Yeah. Do all your chores. Do all your writing. Do whatever you want to do. You got a long commute. It's perfect.
You can break it up. It's once a month, so you can do a little bit every week.
And share it with
Yes,
your friends.
please. Thank you.
And, you know, if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you know one of us. If you'd like to be a guest, reach out. We'd love to have guests on in the future, especially have a connection to any of these movies or Paul Rudd in general or whatever. And, yeah, I think that's my spiel.
Yeah, sounds great. I don't have anything to add. You did such a good job.
Great. See you next time.